Hey, it's Mark coming to you from Baker's Green Acres. Today's the 23rd December, and it's a balmy 52 degrees out. It's really interesting weather we're having for December. But I got a couple things to report, not real great things, but I think some immediate action is required on these. The day before yesterday, Michigan Department of Ag raided one of my retail stores up in Marquette. I'm going to give you the name. It's called the Flying Moose. I don't want to bring any discredit down on them. They're great people, trying to make a living, just like a lot of us. And Department of Ag went in there with two people. They spread their briefcases out and their laptops out on this guy's counter where he does business. They serve sandwiches in there and things like that, and they stayed there for 5.5 hours, and they were there to just inspect my products. Everything that was there was okay, I guess, except for some lard. They had a problem with it. And regardless, it's just more of the same tactics. Now, they really hurt his business. They went in there at noon and stayed all that time, and that's difficult for him. So if you guys could do me a favor, this is the urgent action that we need, is go into the Flying Moose up in Marquette and buy his stuff. That's how we keep people in business. People have asked me, how can we help you? Do business with me, keep me in business. It's a little late for us, but it's not for him. So he was one of my few retail customers, and I think he's probably pretty upset right now, and I don't blame him a bit for being upset about this. I had another customer south of me. It's a resort, actually, and it's kind of a boys' club, and they got a visit too. And, MDA went through all of their stuff, all their records, and all this stuff, just looking at my stuff. Now, parts of the MDA are probably pretty good. And even the inspector lady that came here the other day, I really don't think that it was her brainchild to do this. I have a permit from the MDA to run a kitchen and my chicken processing facility. I have a permit. That means I go to them, I pay them $70 every year in a water test, and they give me permission to do it. But the conditions of that permission is they can come and look at my stuff. So when there was a problem with any of my labeling, they didn't need to generate a search warrant. And the search warrant gave them far more access to my stuff than they needed. Now, a labeling problem, that's something we just communicate, right? But what were they here to search for? That's my question. And I'm going to have to bring this out sooner or later because I got a call this morning from Michigan Live, and they had a list of questions for me. And I could tell from the nature of the questions that they are getting ready to do some damage control. And what politicians do is they smear you, and they're probably going to try and make me look like a wild-eyed lunatic. But I'm going to do a preemptive strike here and inform you that that is coming. They want to focus on some very small issues here. But I think what we need to keep in mind is this is complete and utter retribution. That's all this is. There is an aspect of it that I'm going to have to explain to you that might help fill in some of the pieces here. But this is retribution for the stance we took on the Feral Swine Initiative, and then we conducted ourselves like adults, and we went to a court of law to get it straightened out, and 10 days prior to our trial date, they dropped all charges. So that's typical of this leadership in the state. That's how they are. They're not very reputable, and they don't act with very much integrity. Our side has. I feel as though I represent some of the farmers. I'm not going to say all because a lot of them don't like me, but I believe we've acted with integrity through this whole thing, and all we're really trying to do is make a living and farm. That's all we're trying to do. This other thing I have to tell you about was going to come out sooner or later, so I'm going to tell you now. A neighbor, someone I do business with, known for a while. Most of all, he's a farmer. Full-time farmer, has been all his life. Came to me. I'm not going to give you dates and times or anything like this because that was the job of my elected officials to take care of, and they chose to not take care of it. So I'm going to bring it to you. This is what happened. This neighbor came to me, and himself and another individual, another man, came to my property semi-unannounced. They were delivering something to me, and they said they could get it there in the next couple of days. And they showed up with that delivery. I was not home. My wife and the kids were not home. On that particular day, our schedule is that we are not home. And when they came into the property, they surprised two conservation officers from the Department of Natural Resources that were searching my buildings. And when they surprised these individuals, they were approached and they were asked to give identification. They wanted to know what their relationship to me was, whether they were here to buy pigs, and then they were told that they should not say anything about this because it's an ongoing investigation. And these two guys were intimidated by that, and they left, and they didn't come to me for a while, or one of them didn't come to me for a while. And when he did, it was kind of it was a tough thing for him to do, but he said, I got to tell you this. This is what happened, because he's concerned for the safety of my operation here and my children now. That constitutes an unwarranted search, right? Fourth Amendment, they have to have a warrant to search your property, right? They didn't have one. Otherwise, they would have presented it and then searched. They waited till we weren't home. These guys were wearing DNR colors. There's no doubt about that. They were members of the DNR. And we have some pretty decent evidence, too. So if they did find something here, some sort of contraband, that contraband would not be admissible in court. So what were they doing here? And why did they come in the back of the property on snowmobiles? Why is that? I don't know. I would like it if my elected officials would ask that question, but they will not. So here we are again. I can't expect that we're going to get a fair shake out of this, because we haven't from the state government, not one time. And I think this latest search warrant thing has to do with that, because we do have evidence that this is what happened, and it's a very bad thing, and I think this is just meant to distract the public from that, right? The infractions that I'm accused of, really just accused, because they have never come to me and said, did you do this? They haven't. They're just making accusations and then taking my product off the shelf of these restaurants, people that have paid for it. And they have not asked me the questions that they need to ask, but they are just going to continue this type of harassment and the harassment of my customers. And this is nothing new. I mean, Cook's House, they harassed with this. Now the Flying Moose, and then my other place, Mimo's. And who knows who else, I don't know at this point. I would, hopefully, if my customers hear this and you do get harassed, I would like it if you'd call me. Now, you know, it's a fine line. They have a job to do to ensure food safety. I totally understand that. But if I've gone outside the white line a little bit, give me a phone call. I mean, we play by the rules. Give me a phone call and we'll straighten it out. But they didn't do that. They went right for a search warrant.